to be an exciting time. First off, welcome back, Kelly.
Yeah, I got rebooted.
You got some fans as well. Thank you guys. Always show love to Kelly. We appreciate that. So guys, what is at stake here? Let's talk about that prize pool. It's a $500,000 prize pool, but for first place, $50,000.
I mean, you know, a lot of people are talking about why are we here? Are we here for the engagements? Are we here to have fun? $500,000 prize pool is a pretty big reason to be here and compete, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be very, very cliche here, and I'm going to say, yeah, you know, the players, the content creators are going to be competing for the money. Yeah, that's the prize for them. The prize really is for the Fortnite fam. The enjoyment already that's coming out of this event. Obviously, the 6 games we have yet to be entertained by. I think we're the real winners.
100%, but look, it's not just the $500K prize pool, the $50K for first place, but if you do get that first place, it comes with something special, Zeke.
Oh my gosh, we have an amazing and just beautiful trophy. Just a massive shout out there to Thomas Light for creating not only the trophy, but there will also be medals as well. They're the official silverware partner of the FNCS. They're kind of already making trophies in the sports space and now looking to take a step into esports. They've actually already created a trophy for the RLCS, and when the Pro-Am has a trophy, the Global Championships will have a trophy and medals as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, Thomas Light is literally the official warrant holder for goldsmiths and silversmiths for His Majesty the King. Oh. So literally making trophies for royalty, and we have some royalty here as well.
Please.
Oh.
I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves, right? The trophy is what everybody wants. That's what competition's all about. I personally never ended up earning one. That stinks for me. But the opportunity for everybody here to go ahead and claim that trophy, right? Have it in the back of their setups at home when they're creating content, when they're on stream. That's what it's all about.
And we've got some players here that have those trophies in the background. Booga's competing here today, but there's also a lot of creators and players that do not. And today's the day to get one.
That's right. Okay, guys, let's do this. We got to take a look at our lobby list. Who is competing here today? If you missed out on Duo Day, don't worry. We've got you covered. Here is a look at all of the duos we'll be seeing. Now, let's start to kind of talk about some of these. Obviously, before everything kind of started and we knew Peterbot was coming in, everyone was thinking, okay, who's getting paired up with Peterbot? Who could it be? You know, who's going to walk away with this legend of the scene? Turns out it's Aussie Antics. When you pair them together, yeah, crowd, you guys can go crazy. That's fine. When you pair them together, this is a terrifying duo.
I mean, literally the two faces of competitive Fortnite. Peterbot, the best player in the world, arguably, Major 2 reigning champ, global champ as well. And then Aussie Antics, who does every single viewing party for every single event ever. And the two of them together, although I will say, when we announced this pairing, Aussie, very excited. Although, Vivid, I saw a little bit of fear, a little bit concern in his eye, because being able to keep up with Peterbot is a feat in itself.
Well, let's be honest, Aussie Antics is not going to be able to keep up with Peterbot. Peterbot is literally the GOAT of Fortnite right now. He's on one heck of a run. But everybody's like, yeah, who was going to get paired up with Peterbot? On the flip side of that, well, who was going to get paired up with Aussie Antics? I actually think this worked out very, very well. For anybody who doesn't know, Peterbot's been like a 40+ month sub to Aussie on Twitch, right? So like, he knows, he's very, very comfortable being around Aussie. You know, he knows how he works. He knows how dedicated he is to the game. This duo honestly worked out very, very well on both sides of the coin.
And I love the way they're playing. We could see a bit of it in the practice games yesterday. Aussie Antics, he's got double chug jug, he's got medkits, he's got shockwaves, grappler, and he's like, all right, Peterbot, go frag out, get as many eliminations as you want. I'll be ready. I've got heals for you. I've got mobility for you. I've got everything you need to get that trophy.
You know, we keep calling Aussie Antics a loot llama, but we saw the practice games yesterday. He eliminated Mr. Savage, so there is definitely some W key potential there.
Oh man, I'm excited, of course, for the duo. Their objective here at the Pro-Am is very clear.
When it comes to our play style, I'm just gonna key a little bit in the beginning, try and get us some free elimination points, and then we'll start playing passive towards 5 or 6 minutes into the game.
I just gotta stay alive. That's my plan.
Yeah, just gotta stay alive. That's it, Aussie, right? I mean, I love that you guys kind of brought up the practice game yesterday. Having a situation where we watched Peterbot kind of take a fight, was eliminated, rebooted, lands in front of Aussie, and Aussie's just like, hey, here's the stuff. Keep going. I'm gonna keep farming. I can't wait to see how they perform today.
I mean, something we talk about in the FNCS is players knowing their roles and being able to play to the T, and that is exactly what Aussie and Peter are coming into this competition. They have such a good synergy. I really feel like they are, you know, the team to beat.
You know, honestly, we keep talking about how all these practice games went yesterday, and it was like, yeah, Aussie Antics was kind of farming for Peterbot, but at the end of it, you know, no leaks or anything like that. They're actually tactical to switch up how it's going to work, they might actually, work together just a little bit more than we were expecting. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of practice and implement that new strategy.
Yeah, and we're talking about support. Aussie Antics, look, I'm going to give one leak. He eliminated Mr. Savage yesterday in the practice game, so he can still hold his ground.
Okay. Well, guess what? Frankie's actually standing by with the duo right now, so let's get their thoughts on how they're feeling.
Yes, and before we ask them about their game, I need to ask, why is the FNCS Pro-Am going to be won by Reason and Faxity today?
I don't really know, to be honest. I'm just going to go out there and win.
Yeah, you're going to win, so no one's getting in your way today.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
That's probably the most obvious answer and the question I shouldn't have asked because we all knew it. Now, Ozzy, I'm coming to you. What was it like when you were paired up with Peterbot, when the news sank in?
I mean, it's exciting. Obviously, everyone wanted to get Peterbot. It put a bit more pressure on. I started practicing instantly. I was kind of going to gauge how serious I was going to take the event, of which teammate I got. Once you get Pete, you got to lock in. So.
And how seriously are you taking the event?
I mean, pretty seriously. I mean, no one's expecting me to be the firepower on the team, but if you got to keep up with Peterbot, you got to at least be like practicing. So I put a lot of time in. I'm feeling pretty good.
Peter, have you been surprised by the firepower that Ozzy is bringing?
A little bit. I thought he would be a little bit worse, but he's definitely gotten better.
Is that because of you?
No, it's not even because of me. I think he just, grinded on his own, but I think he's getting better for me.
He's definitely been grinding. We're hearing rumors that more people might be heading your way at Slurpee Swamp today. Have you got a message for them?
I hope people land on us at Slurpee. It'll be free eliminations for me and Ozzy, so, yeah.
Free eliminations. No one wants to give Peterbot free eliminations. To be honest, they probably feel free when people are actually coming at you primed and ready to go. Ozzy, so you've talked about the fact that you're just going to be a bit of a walking llama for Peter today. But after the test games yesterday, where you did get an elimination on Allier, are you feeling like actually you might be going more for the elims now, more direct?
We'll see. I don't want to say too much, but I mean, if I go the full llama route, people are going to start looking for me as the llama, so we'll change it up a bit. I don't want to keep the strategy too one-sided, so, I'll get in the mix a little bit.
And you are such a kind, lovely person. If you ask Ozzy to talk about the competition, he's just like, I don't do that. I can't talk about anyone in a bad way. But I do want to know, has Pete told you any trash talk?
Oh, I mean, we'll see. I don't want to mess up his flow state. I know Pete likes to smack talk. He likes to, crash out on people a bit, so I don't want to mess him up too much. So I'm usually Mr. Positive, but it's a tournament. There's money on the line, We'll see how we go.
So the answer is no. Pete hasn't taught him any smack talk. He's literally the same Aussie Antics we know and love. Peter, Ozzy, thank you so much for talking to me today, and I know you're going to put on a good show. Let's head back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Frankie. Yeah, I mean, so we've obviously had a couple days now with everybody here at the tournament. We've had kind of chances to catch up with Ozzy individually, Peterbot individually, and a couple times together, right? And you can definitely tell Ozzy's taking this very seriously. He's really putting in time. He's really trying to refine. And Peterbot is just being Peterbot. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to show up on the show day. Everyone's getting eliminated.
Peterbot saying that Ozzy is not as bad as he thought he was is the nicest compliment I have ever heard out of Peterbot's mouth. So that right there is a good sign.
Obviously one-sided there when it comes down to the communication, right? Ozzy a lot more invested into the questions. And yeah, like Zeke went ahead and said there, just confidence spewing out of Peterbot. Every single time he's on camera, he's just like, yeah, I'm going to win.
People are sleeping on Ozzy a little bit, though, no? I mean, when you're put up with Peterbot, it's hard to kind of make that comparison, right? The GOAT of Fortnite competitive, the GOAT of Fortnite viewing parties, but they definitely have what it takes.
You said the word GOAT there, and that got me thinking. There is a GOAT we have to highlight, and it's someone who's going to be fighting for the #1 loudest duo on the day. It's Courage JD paired up with Cold. Obviously, if you guys, again, have been watching since Duo Day, you know we had Courage on the show. He was really excited. Finally, they got some time to practice together, and, Courage has been taking this extremely seriously.
Yeah, initially Cold was being a little cold to Courage JD, but once they did finally get the practice in, it definitely looks a lot better. Courage JD, we were talking about Aussie Antics putting in the work, putting in the practice. Every time I tune into Twitch, Courage JD is practicing with some kind of pro.
Yeah, and I got to say, Zeke was mentioning, oh, yeah, they're going to be competing for the loudest duo. I'm pretty sure one half of this duo is going to be entirely carrying that loudness. I'll let you guys at home kind of decide who that's going to be right there. But yeah, to bring up Kelly's point right there, the practice that Courage has been bringing to the table. It's not only the time that he's put it in, because obviously it's been a bunch. It's actually the quality of that practice that kind of caught my eye. Jumping into lobbies, jumping into creative with other professional players, even ones that are actually competing in the event. Like I saw they had a great session with Venno himself, right? A little bit tips and tricks there about how to fight box to box. So Great job by Courage to go ahead and jump into the action.
Yeah, and also the vibes. I mean, this morning, Courage was, I would say, the first one in the practice lounge. And he came, he had 3 bananas, 2 waters, 3 granola bars, and it was all for Cold. He said, my duo has got to be ready to compete today, so I think they definitely got what it takes.
Yeah, I mean, he's a character, right? And of course, him being basically the last one out last night during the practice hours, like, I cannot wait to see Courage compete. He did have some quotes in that piece that we showed earlier. I believe he said he was going to eliminate Cypher PK,
Nick A30.
Nick A30, and then some of the pros.
Maybe.
So,
Maybe.
maybe. Oh, okay, yeah. And of course, during the duo day, he was the self-proclaimed 2025 FNCS Pro-Am champion. So we'll see how that goes today.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of possibility, Takada. I do think that Courage JD may have made a few enemies, though.
Definitely made quite a few enemies. You can even think, I'm gonna take you back, okay? 2018, the Fortnite Pro-Am, Courage actually got 2nd place. And, you know, Cypher was talking about it. He competed back in the day. Also, Ali A, who got 5th. And Courage was like, you know what? As long as I place higher than Ali A, I'll be happy with that.
That was a long time ago, Tokata. That was a long time ago. But, you know, look, this duo is perfect for each other, right? Like, obviously, the quiet nature of Cold, who's going to be kind of slipping in and out of builds, eliminating players. Courage being a loud voice to distract people. I mean, you know, why don't we just hear what they have to say?
The best content creator at the Fortnite Pro-Am?
I got my player. I know my player.
Go ahead. Who is it?
Cypher PK.
If that's not an indication we've been having a lot of fun this weekend, I don't know what is. Very excited to see how these guys compete. You know, obviously, Cold is Cold. So, you know, we kind of have touched a lot on Courage and how much work he's been putting in, but Cold is a very difficult individual to stop once he gets going.
I mean, Major 2 reigning champ. He every time we see these like stats of who has the most damage, it's between him and Peterbot who's fighting for first. Absolutely an incredible fragger. Definitely a threat to the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, an incredible performance in Major 2 from Cold. Best damage ratio over the course of 12 games against other professional players was seriously a feat. Obviously, that's the crazy thing, right? When we think about, you know, how well they play in Majors, it's always against other professional players. Throw in content creators in the mix, you're one of the best fraggers in the game. Being Cold, woo, it's gonna be scary.
Hey, 3-time FNCS champ. I mean, look, they're joking around, they're having fun, but I think when that first game starts, they're going to be locked in. They're going to be focused, and they're going to do a great job.
I'm curious to see where they're at right now. Frankie is standing by with the duo. Let's get their thoughts on the Pro-Am.
Well, Cold was 14 years old when he won his first FNCS Major Finals. Courage is 31, and he's hoping he's going to get his first title today. And you brought the bananas. What's this all about?
Yeah, it's important to have fruits, keep your blood sugar high. I'm gonna have 2 bananas per game, which will equate to 12 bananas by the end of this. And I think if I get 1 elimination per banana, we'll be in a good spot.
Who are you going to eliminate, though? Who's the easiest?
I mean, how long do we got? Cypher PK, we were fighting earlier, easy eliminations. Peterbot hasn't even warmed up, not worried about him anymore. Typical gamer might almost be 50, so his reaction time isn't cutting it. And I got Cold as a duo, so what am I worried about?
You do have Cold as a duo. The weird thing is, I would have thought it'd be him with the back injury after the test games we played yesterday because he was carrying you quite a lot. Cold, how are you feeling about your partner? He's been grinding more than anyone in this entire building.
He has. I can tell he really wants it, and like he wants to do well in this, so I'm going to do my best to give him what he wants.
How long have you been able to practice as a duo? Because, I mean, you had the Major 2 finals not that long ago.
To practice for this?
Yeah.
Not much practice coming from me, to be honest, but I got Courage for that, so.
Well, you did have a little bit of trouble. You're dropping south of Booming Base, and unfortunately for you guys, malheureusement, the French are going there too. What's the tactic for dealing with them today? Because they gave you a lot of trouble yesterday.
There is going to be no dealing with them. We're just going to let them do their thing. We're going to do our thing, and we'll see how it goes.
Are you going to do what I call the Mongol strat? Are you going to hide in a bush until the danger's gone?
Of course not.
This man doesn't hide in no bush. Courage, do you think that you've put quite a lot of pressure on yourself with this event? Because obviously you've been grinding, but back at the 2018 Celebrity Pro-Am, you did lose to Ninja. He put you in 2nd place. You say you gave it to him, but I'm not so sure.
Look, Ninja needed to complete his story arc at the first Pro-Am. I love my boy Tyler, but he had to get that win. This time, though, I'm coming for first place only. And if we win first place, I told Cold I'm giving him all my prize money. So.
All the prize money, I mean, 50 grand? It's not pocket change to me, but maybe to this mad. But you could buy an awful lot of bananas with that, Cold. Let's head back to the desk.
Well,
I think they broke Zeke.
I'm fine. Everything is fine. Everything is great. Always a big fan of Courage JD, a true OG in the scene, and of course, I love seeing him paired up with Cold. They both seem in very high spirits, which I'm excited to see. That means at whatever happens, we're going to be hearing Courage JD on that stage.
Oh, 100%. I think that for this duo especially, that they are just here for the vibes. But I think that throughout those vibes, they also just might get a few wins as well.
Yeah, I mean, the approach to this tournament is just completely different. I love how Cold's answer to, oh, you know, how much practice have you guys kind of been putting into the tournament? He's like, oh, well, me? Really not much. But that's what I got Courage for, as if, like, Courage has put in so much practice that it's, like, taking up how much Cold's supposed to practice. Like, Courage has practiced so much for the both of them.
Look, all I know is no other player is going to have more than 12 bananas. Will that actually help Courage? I don't think so, but hey, you know, it's the spirit that counts.
Okay, all right. Now, the spirit of what I would like to see today is someone win their first LAN title. Thomas HD, paired up with Somerset, which is kind of a terrifying duo. And guys, I will go ahead and admit something to you now. When Duo Day happened, obviously we were seeing the duos announced come together, and I kept, you know, I was going one by one. I saw Thomas HD and Somerset, and I thought, oh, that's really cool, and I kind of moved on. Then I had to kind of stop myself and take a kind of step back and wait, well, hold on, Zeke. Did you read that right? Thomas HD and Somerset?
Yeah, leading up into this event, a lot of people make their prediction lists, top 3, top 5, and this duo is in pretty much every single person's top 5 list. And there's obvious reasons why. I mean, Thomas HG is the best player in Fortnite to never win an FNCS title. I don't even know how many second places he's won. And then, of course, you have Somerset, winner of multiple votes, as well as getting 3rd place at the most recent Milk Cup LAN. I mean, they are incredible competitors, and having that competitive mindset is definitely going to set themselves up for success.
Yeah, this duo has put us in a little bit of a gray area, right? We're supposed to have a professional player on one side, content creator on the other side. Obviously, Somerset, great content creator, but she is just so invested in the Fortnite competitive. I think nobody would bat an eye to call her a professional player in all regards. Like, you saw 14,000 hours streamed, all of that being invested into Fortnite competitive in some way, shape, or form. And not to mention, right, Fortnite is an esport that continuously gets harder, right? Throughout your career, it's just harder to kind of come into it. Everybody's getting better. Somerset is also just getting better, right? Earlier this year, making it into FNCS East, which was a feat for her. So she's constantly getting better, paired up with Thomas HT, scary duo.
They're going to be lethal. I mean, not only making it to Heat's 3rd place in the Milk Cup, Thomas HT, on the other hand, 4 times he's placed 2nd place in FNCS Grand Finals, one of those being the Global Championship. Now, we did talk with Thomas, talked with Somerset. We said, if you win today, do you think it's going to count as your first FNCS win? Now, Thomas said no, but Somerset, on the other hand, had another idea.
Yes, she said yes, and look, we agree. It still has FNCS before the Pro-Am, so if you win, Thomas, it does count. Why don't we go on over to Frankie, who's standing by. Frankie, ask him if it counts.
Hello, I have got a very terrifying duo next to me. They might look sweet and innocent, but these two are going to have an absolute party when we hit Slurp Rush later. Thomas, when you first played Reload and this map, you must have been so excited because all of those weapons, have you got your name practically written on them?
Yeah, I do. Like, I like using the Mammoth pistol, for example, and the sniper. So, yeah, I like the weapons.
It's kind of terrifying watching the two of these guys play. What was your reaction to getting Thomas?
Oh, I was astonished. I was very excited. I mean, he's literally the Sniper King in absolutely everything. So to hear that, it was, I knew we would definitely be able to get some, you know, eliminations out of the air for sure.
Known for your disgusting aim with the sniper as well. Tell me, how on earth are you deciding who's doing what in game? Because you've got a very similar, powerful skill set.
I think it's pretty apparent that he's very good with the super long range. I'm kind of here to just support and follow up on whatever he absolutely needs just to get us through to the end game.
Now, you haven't had much of a chance to practice together because you've been separated by the Atlantic Ocean. But from watching you guys perform yesterday in our test games, it feels like there's a very natural chemistry. Is that right? Has it come quite naturally to you two as a duo?
Yeah, I would say it does. I mean, I feel like we bounce off of each other pretty well, aside from me jumping in front of crash pads. But I'm learning as we go.
There have been a few accidents we have seen with the mobility items so far here at the Galen Center in the past couple of days, so don't worry about that one. You're not alone, Somerset. Thomas, tell me about the off-spawn situation. You are dropping south of Steamy Stacks, but there's a lot of very good duos landing either side of you. So what's the idea here? Are you going to stick around and try and get some elims?
We might be contested, but I'm not sure. I think Seti and Daya was going to land on us, but yeah, we will see. We'll just claim the split we have there, and yeah, we'll just try to make it to end game.
Well, all I know is it's going to be very, very entertaining watching the two of you. Thank you so much for talking to me, and good luck. Let's head back to the desk.
Thomas HD said a word there, a phrase, called out a weapon specifically that kind of just got me excited. Mammoth Pistol. Mammoth Pistol being in reload. You throw one of those in the hands of Thomas HD, he's going to start hitting headshots.
Oh, he's definitely going to start hitting headshots, right? We're talking about the Pro-Am right now. I remember when the Mammoth Pistol was in FNCS competitive, right? When we were having one of those majors, then it was like, wait a minute, we're running highlight reels of the game, and they're all of Thomas with a Mammoth Pistol. This isn't a Thomas highlight, it's just of the game, and it's just all of Thomas. He is just so good with weapons like that.
Look, they're definitely going to do a great job, but some duos are uncontested and some aren't. One of them that is contesting each other at the northwest side of the map is going to be Clix and Lacey against Veno and Reddish. Now, this is going to be an interesting one, Z.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, on one side, old friends, old duel mates split up and now having to go head to head. On one side, you've got Reddish, who, again, kind of teetering on that like gray area of content creator pro. And then you've got Lacey, who is like basically an old-time pro, and he still says he is. Does that count? I don't know, but this is an exciting head-to-head.
I feel like a few people would put asterisks onto that FNCS Pro, Clix being one of them. But yeah, Clix and Veno, like you were saying, old teammates, old roommates. They literally played the last FNCS Global Championships together. Obviously, they did split up this year, Veno going back to Europe, but having them go face-to-face, I don't know if there's going to be too much fighting, Vivid.
Yeah, I'm happy that you kind of hit home on that, right? I think they're both going to be happy with taking the loot that they get from Steamy Stacks. A pretty big POI for the both of those duos. I want to focus in on Clix and Lacey as a duo. Obviously, in Fortnite competitive, you know, it's very, very important to go ahead and farm your mats up. My only question with this duo, though, are they going to be able to take a break from farming those engagements to go ahead and get a couple of materials, right? Are they going to have too much fun with the event, or are they actually going to try to win?
Definitely going to be farming clips. Mats, on the other hand, that's the issue. If we think about how both of these duos play, Clix and Lacey, I was watching some streams. Lacey's like, I'm the IGL. I'm the pro. I'm the IGL. Clix is like, what do you mean? No, I'm the pro. I'm the IGL. Lacey's like, no. So they're kind of going back and forth, but I do think they will lock in when the time comes. Now, on the other hand, Veno and Reddish, they are locked in. One of the first in the practice room. Veno's going to be IGLing. They definitely have what it takes.
I'm excited to hear from this next interview. Frankie's standing by with both duos. Let's go on over.
Thank you so much. And this is an interesting LAN reunion because the last time these guys were playing in person, it was at the Global Championships in 2024, and you were playing together. You placed 11th, and now you're broken up. Do you prefer it this way, Veno?
I don't miss them. I can't win championships with them.
Okay. Excuse me, this man bought you a watch.
Already. Bought him a watch, and by the way, he was the reason we didn't win FNCS. I don't know if you've seen when we got 4th place. We were 1st place 9 games in. The last 3 games, he didn't listen to our coach. Did a dead side rotate, wrong rotate, pew pew. We're done. We're literally eliminated.
And so you sent him packing back to the UK.
Yeah, I sent him back to home.
Well, thank you so much. Let's talk about the competition that's going to happen, because Veno, you have a new teammate in Reddish, and she can frag very reliably. We saw you guys performing really well in the practice sessions here yesterday. Reddish, tell me how this teamwork is working.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a fragger, more of a support player. This guy killed Peterbot in a couple of games yesterday. I think we're ready, and I'm there to support him.
We know that you've also won on LAN. There was a LAN at the end of last year in London that you picked up the W4. So have you taught Veno anything?
If there's ever a zero build tournament, he knows to pick me up. That was a zero build cup, so.
But you've been practicing those builds, I know. And Lacey, have you been practicing those builds? Because I've heard you've jumped back into the game. It's like riding a bike, but is it really?
It is. It's like riding a bike for me. You know, I was born with the talent. It's not really a skill I learned. I was born with it. But I've been VOD reviewing all last night. I was locked in. looking at the VODs, studying film, making sure that we're ready and strategize for today.
And he is a former pro player, Click, so surely he's going to be leading you in game.
Yeah, I mean, he's, you know, a former pro player. How much earnings do you have?
$5,000.
5,000. I mean, you know, I have almost like, what, 700? She has how? You have 40,000?
I got like 40K.
Also, I want to say, why is your voice so raspy, Lacey?
You said what?
Why is your voice so raspy?
My voice raspy because last night we were
VOD
VOD
so
reviewing
hard.
and I was screaming the comms. We were practicing comms
Exactly,
last night.
yep. Shockwave on height, shockwave on height. He was doing all that.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys about the showdown at Steamy Stacks, but you guys have been talking at each other so long, we're just going to see what happens in the game. Let's head back to the desk.
See, it's weird because they said they were VOD reviewing. Now, Lacey was definitely having a lot of fun. I don't think it was in Fortnite, though. Can confirm. Will that turn out well today? Will it not? I mean, he was looking awake, looking happy. I think they can do it.
You know, listen, when the lights come on, the cameras turn on, this is still Lacey, right? This is still Clicks. This is all for show. This is the character they're letting out, but then the time comes, they're going to win it all. That's my prediction. Anyway, let's move on to the next Ospawn situation happening. We're seeing, and I actually want to come back to you for this, Tokata. We have Zemi and Cooper going up against Gone and Flakes. You've been super tapped into the Spanish community, so kind of give us the rundown of what you're seeing.
Yeah, this is interesting because when you think of Cooper and Zemi, you look at a majority of the predictions that have been made for the Pro-Am, and Cooper Zemi, their top three are just set at winning the whole event.
Yeah.
Now, Gone and Flakes, I think, went under the radar a little bit. Flakes actually just qualified to the major finals on Brazil. They are the duo representing Brazil here today, and he's put alongside a pro. I mean, I was talking to Gorilon, who's actually here doing a viewing party in Spanish. Shout out Gorilon, and he was saying this duo is going to play aggressive. Unlike you got Steamy Stacks, kind of an uncontested, both good in their own loot, but there's also been a surprise contestation on this side of the map.
A lot of contestation going on over there. And I was actually talking to Cooper specifically yesterday. And I was like, yo, what's up, Cooper? How you doing, man? How you feeling? He was like, I'm feeling confident right now. And he wasn't talking about his own play. He was pointing over at Zem and he was like, dude, this guy, he's better than me in most of the end games that we just played through. All the cups, all the practice we're getting in. Sometimes he's dropping more eliminations than I am. So the confidence kind of going into this competition, very, very high for the duo.
Yeah, and Cooper, you know, going all the way back to the 2023 Global Championships, a lot of people, for whatever reason, discredited that win. A lot of people saying that the 6 games there, you know, that was the easiest win for the FNCS. And then he has come back time and time again, making it to the grand finals, making it to the top 5 to say, it wasn't a fluke, I deserve this win, and he's here to come back once again for another FNCS title.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you pointed out as well as Zemi, because I heard that same thing, right? And when we're talking with Zemi, it's like, you know, what do you think? What would lead to your success? Another person to say the Mammoth pistol. And at that point, yeah, I kind of heard Cypher PK you know, quietly say, yeah, don't let him get that. Don't let him get that. So I'm excited to see, man. I do agree. Could this be the duo that wins it all?
100%. Both of them are incredibly strong competitors. Cooper is incredibly intelligent, but also has great fragging ability as well. So the two of them together, I think, has a lot of potential. They are going to be contested, potentially triple contested by Faxity, but who knows if you can trust what Faxity says where he's going to be landing, Vivid.
Yeah, it'll be crazy to see if they actually do end up fighting Ospawn. But again, you know, Cooper Zemi entering that rare. Both of them kind of pros in their own regards.
Okay, you know what time it is. We've got an interview lined up with both the duos once again.
Yes, I'm so excited to have Cooper and Zemi and Flakes and Gone. We'll come to the Brazilian guys first, because yesterday I was having a chat with you and you were like, we're partners, we're brothers. And it feels like this competition might have even brought you closer together.
Yes. I love to play with Gone. And here we have more synergy. And I want to see this again in Brazil, man. In our competition in Brazil.
We are we are friends. Like we talk like a year. We're talking like for a year. We play a lot of tournaments together before the Pro-Am. We play a lot of duo. I don't think we play trios, but we play duo together, trying to call for Cash Cup duos. And
maybe you can join my trio, man.
We have chemistry.
Bye, Swetan. I will put Gone on my team. Bye, Susu.
Bye, Su. Bye, Jonas.
Well, they have been rivals in the recent major finals because you actually made the major finals. But Flakes, you've been telling me that you're more of a support player.
Yes, I qualified to grand finals in Brazil, but I am like a support player, yes. I take heals for my team, mats, like a walking llama, and I help them to perform well. This is what I do.
Well, let's head over to your rivals at Dirty Dots, because you guys are going to be having Ospawn battles today. Zemi, you've been grinding the game, it turns out. 260 hours in Chapter 6, more than Flakes. that makes me feel like you're very, very keen to take this home for you.
That's what I'm here for. I mean, as soon as I found out Cooper is my teammate, we started practicing every single day pretty much. Every single tournament there's been upcoming to this tournament, we've played it. We're very confident, and I couldn't ask for a better teammate. Cooper is incredible at the game, and he's also down to put in the hours and practice, and it's been good so far.
You are playing with the global champion. Cooper, come here. Let me know, what's it been like training with Zemi? How does he compare with the likes of your former teammates?
It's been really good. I think he picks up things really quickly as he competes at a high level with zero builds. So it's been a lot easy to adapt to, and overall he's been a great teammate, and I'm stoked for today.
White, this has been a little bit too nice, okay? We need to turn up the heat, and we need to find out who is going to be the dons of the Dirty Docks today. So, Zemi, why are you taking it today?
Listen, we're gonna take it because, again, I think we have slightly more practice than you guys. You guys are a great team, but we've had more practice, man, and I think it just comes down to the preparation. Best of luck, though.
So he's had the practice, but you guys, what have you got?
Bro, chemistry, yes, we play out for a lot of time together gone.
We have the Disney Holo.
Yes, the Disney Holo from Brazil, the Brazilian Disney Holo. They understand after the tournament.
So it's the kings of Desian Hollow versus the guys who put the work in. Who is going to reign supreme at the Dirty Docks? Maybe the desk can give us an idea.
I love that Frankie's like, all right, guys, fighting words. And Zemi's like, yeah, you know, we're going to win. Everything's cool. Everything's nice. Good luck. We're going to win, though. And it's like, Zemi, give me something. Give me more, man. I love Zemi, though. Obviously, we are very excited to see both. And not only just these two duos going ahead, but everyone competes. So let's do something fun. Let's talk about predictions. Who could walk away winning it all? We've put our heads together. We made some predictions, and here is a little look here. Who wants to go ahead and start?
Well, first of all, he says we put our heads together. We didn't. We all kept the secrets from each other because we're very competitive in our own right. And as you can see, Takada and I, we have the same choice. The French gentle mates of Nikov and Podesai. If you guys watch the practice games like we did yesterday, they would be your choice as well.
Look, I don't want to leak anything too early, but when the Pro-Am was announced, I think they went under the radar a little bit. They weren't in those top 5, top 3 predictions, and then we got here. We were seeing how much practice they were putting in, how well both of these players were performing, and everyone's like, wait, hold on a second. What's going on here? This duo is looking insane, and I do think that they have what it takes to come out on top today.
And you know, we joke about Lacey and Stable Ronaldo being these ex-FNCS pros. I mean, Podesai Nikov has been playing since the World Cup. He has been a competitor for a long time, and although he may have not been competing for the last few years, understanding what takes priority in a competitive mindset is so valuable.
I can't lie, that duo kind of made me bat an eye, but me and my boy Jacob PR sticking to our NAC roots. We know who dominates over there in the majors. It's going to be Peterbot paired up with Aussie Antics. You want to know something, Takada? This actually surprises me because earlier on you were like, oh my gosh, it's 1 point per elimination, only 10 points for the Victory Royale. Obviously very, very heavy when it comes down to the elimination-based format, right? Peterbot has had the most eliminations over the past 5 FNCSs on his region, and he has only been beaten actually globally 1 time, and that was by Vico. Constantly gets the most eliminations. We're in an elimination-based format. I've got Peterbot.
Now, hold on. Here's the problem, though, Vivid, because Peterbot is Peterbot, but as we saw in the practice games yesterday, if he goes down, there's a lot of duos close by, like Monger, who says, oh, I happen to have a Mammoth. You're still in the air. That's a free point from me.
I got something for you, Zeke. It don't matter. It's Pete.
Hey, he got me. He got me. But my prediction is Clix and Lacey because it's Clix and Lacey. They are going to win. Now, of course, I know what you guys want. You guys want to meet some of these players. You want to see these duos in person. So why don't we go ahead and bring out the first 4.
Make some noise for Zemi and Cooper. 2 Titans from competitive and content are here to duke it out and reload, looking to take that top spot.
Let's hear it for Reddish and Benno. Friendly faces, but not so friendly in game, and with an unmatched competitive drive, they're ready to take it home.
It's Big Vaxity and Reason. Even though these guys are a last-minute duo, they will not disappoint today, mixing great content with brute force.
You gotta get loud for Kanata and Stable Ronaldo. This energetic powerhouse is ready to get the party started.
That was just the first 4, and we are already going absolutely crazy. I am so excited to see Faxity and Reason play. Faxity being the last-minute sub in there. Just so excited to see him compete on this stage. He's been running around. He's been talking to people, giving insights, you know, trying to learn and grow. And I feel like he is so focused right now. And you pair him up with someone like Reason?
Yeah, no, I mean, Big Faxity, you know, a lot of people look to him as, you know, viewing party, a little bit of content, very close with a lot of the players, but he is also pretty dang good at Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of his content actually revolves around being involved, being in calls with other pro players, so he's constantly in those conversations, right? Not to mention also doing all of those zone wars. Shout out to Faxity, right? Such a big career. He's got a lot of momentum going on in the content craze. You saw him throw up the X, rep the set, recently joined X set.
Oh yeah, I love supporting my fellow NA West players. You mentioned the Zone Wars, also very good friends with Reason. The synergy is gonna be at an all-time high with this duo.
You know, you talk about synergy. I like the word chemistry. Kanata, Stable Ronaldo. This is the other duo that's competing for the loudest duo.
They're not
at
competing.
The Pro-Am.
No, they win. They already won. I think through the player lounge, we've seen that they have already won that. I mean, honestly, when this duo was announced, I was very excited, but also a little scared. Not for the rest of the competition, but for the audience members. It is going to get very loud from this duo.
It's been mentioned already that coming back to the game, and we were talking to Lazy, it's just like riding a bike. I think the person who's jumped back on that bike the best has actually been Ronaldo. His mechs look very, very clean.
Oh my gosh, look, I'm getting word. I would love to keep talking about these duos, but we got next 4 to meet. Bring them in.
It's Cypher and Moxie. The LA takeover has begun, and they're not looking to go home empty-handed. Show us what you got.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monroe and Allier, Britain's finest, some might say, with tons of experience in the bag. They're ready to put others in the bin.
Viva la France, Sneakoff and Podicide. The Gentlemates have entered the stage, and you know that trophy would look oh so good in their office.
Let's hear it from Courage, JD, and Cole. Pretty bold to announce yourself as the champion already, but we respect it. Let's see you back up that statement.
Oh man, and a quick shout out there to our friends over at Make-A-Wish. We had some very special friends come out and kind of get to feel the crowd, feel the vibe in those few moments. We wanted to highlight here Sneakoff and Podicide. I mean, guys, this is the duo that pretty unanimously everyone seems to believe these are the guys. These are the ones that are going to win it all.
I mean, yeah, we already briefly talked about them just a few minutes ago. Absolutely incredible competitors. You know, ex-FNCS Pro joined by a current FNCS Pro is quite the dynamic duo.
Yeah, I mean, always being involved in the viewing parties, knows what's going on with Fortnite competitive, staying in tune, grinding in the shadows, paired up with Bodasai and Nikov. They're looking scary.
We do have the Global Championships in France later this year, so, you know, maybe they want to give us a little sneak peek of what we might see.
All right. We also had a chance there. You heard the crowd go crazy. Cypher, PK, and Moxie coming together. I mean, I feel like the stadium, they've chosen their winners.
Oh yeah, I mean, landing over an East Slurpee Swamp right there, they have a great position, but also Cypher PK, even though he is a content creator, he is an incredible competitor. And then of course, Moxie, winner of the Milk Cup, one of the best female Fortnite pros in the world.
Yeah, a lot of potential here for this duo. Talked to Cypher, he was like, yeah, I love my duo. We got the same game plan. We're jumping in, feeling confident.
I love it. And again, shout outs to Make-A-Wish. Luca, Tyler, thanks for hanging out, but it's time. Let's meet our next 4.
Give it up for Lachlan and Mr. Savage. The boys are ready to hit the ground running and combine maximum content with pure skill. It's showtime.
Everybody say hello Regs and Nate Hill. They've got LAN events, they've got experience, and they're making for some fierce competition.
Make some noise for Captain Shota and Koyota, all the way from Japan. These guys are here to make their mark on the international stage with a big win.
Next up, it's Booga and Typical Gamer, a World Cup title paired up with world-class content. This is the perfect recipe for success.
TG, my fault, OG. I did not know you were absolutely yoked. Oh my gosh. Once again, the crowd have chosen their favorites. It's Typical Gamer, it's Booga. You can hear the crowd is electric right now. Man, what more could we say about these two OGs of the Fortnite scene?
Look, I almost got shaken off the stage. When Booga and Typical Gamer walked out, I literally almost fell off with how excited the crowd got. But that's at no surprise when you pair up the most followed creator in the Fortnite space alongside the World Cup Solos winner. It's what to expect.
You know, the Reload game mode throws a bunch of old items, old weapons that we've seen in Fortnite competitive before. And if any's going to be good adapting to any sort of meta, any of those items, it's going to be Booga, the guy with the most experience.
And I mean, you look at Typical Gamer, he was competing in NA West FNCS, and he was able to make it through the qualifier. He is also in one of those gray areas, like you like to say, Vivid.
Okay, what about Shota, Koyota coming in from Japan, man? I mean, listen, they've got the rock, paper, scissors on lock. The question is, who's throwing paper?
Look, I'm going to ask you a question, Zeke. I was actually taking a peek in the player lounge. Koyota was 1v1ing Peterbot in creative. Who do you think won?
It's got to be Pete, man.
Koyota actually won 5-3 in 1v1s creative against Peterbot. So he's got the mechanical skill on deck. Also has some little surprises that we've seen in terms of game strategies, so I think they have what it takes.
That's the thing with Koyota. Every single time that he shows up to one of these international events, whether it be globals, whether it be a Pro-Am, everybody is always quickly reminded he is just so good, especially when it comes to mechanics.
I mean, there's a reason they call him the Asia's Peterbot, man. He is such a phenomenal player, and like you said, super innovative. I remember back when we had jetpacks in the game, he was literally eliminating people in the air. I'd love to see it again.
Woo! Let's hope there's jetpacks in Reload, but for now, let's meet our next four duos.
Their names are Alex and Loser Brew, but there's no losers in sight. It's time to represent Power and Oceania.
Give it up for Daya and Seti, both LAN winners with a bunch of experience, ready to give it their all in the FNCS Pro-Am tonight. Good luck.
Locked and loaded, Thomas and Somerset. This lobby better watch out, because with these two around, first is the only thing on their mind.
It's Aussie Antics and Peterbot. We're in for some action with these guys today. Can they live up to the expectations from the community? Time to find out.
I mean, I'm feeling it. This is insane. We still have one more group left to go, but let's talk about Daya and Seti. I mean, Seti's an invitational champion, a legend in the EU scene. You pair him up with Daya, who just recently won the Milk Cup LAN. I mean, you know, Viv, this is looking like a really strong duo.
You mentioned it, right? Both of them have that LAN experience, not only LAN experience, LAN winning experience. I mean, I swear this duo should be good on paper. It'll be interesting to see if they can actually fulfill all of the hype coming into the weekend.
Yeah, when you think of EU competitive and a new season starts, the pros, the players, the duo, the players that they look at first is Cammy and Seti. They're always ahead of the game in terms of meta, in terms of how to play this season out. So I would not be surprised if they're also going to be ahead of the meta going into today.
They are going to be contested at Logjam by Thomas and Somerset, but honestly, if there is a duo that could probably come up with a strategy real quick with how to deal with that duo, it is going to be Daya and Seti. But we got to talk about our OCE players.
That's right, Alex. We got paired up with Loser Fruit. I mean, in yesterday's practice games, guys, Alex was going crazy. Thankfully, they had Callum come out with them. Man, these guys are looking really, really strong.
Yeah, when we were watching the games, there I am seeing a player with like 8 eliminations. I'm like, oh, of course, Peterbot's going crazy. Oh, wait, no, that's Alex. Alex is eliminating everyone.
Another one of those instances where we're reminded by one of these international players kind of joining us here on the stage that they are just so good mechanically. I was talking to Alex just before we started, and he was like, yo, Vivid, like, hype me up. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? I don't need to. You were dropping crazy elimination yesterday. Just do that again. Everybody will be hyped for you.
100%. 4-time FNCS champ on OCE. You were mentioning it, Kelly. He had the highest amount of eliminations in any of the practice matches yesterday.
I have a very small insight from Loser Fruit as well. We had a very deep conversation. Said, Loser Fruit, what do you want out of the weekend? She said, I want one thing. One elimination onto Lachlan. That's it. With that being said, one final wave of duos. Bring them in.
Get loud for Queasy and Nick at 30. These guys will never back down and look to have an amazing day. I can guarantee to see them on high ground.
Flakes and God have entered the building, everybody. Things are really heating up, and Brazil is coming in hot for today's competition.
Post-Gogorum, Jacob and Cammy, bringing the pride of Poland all the way to Los Angeles. Let's see if this duo can live up to the pressure of the competition.
It's your content kings, Quicks and Lacey! They are already first in everyone's hearts, but now it's time to place first on the big stage.
The hype is real. The players are now taking the stage, and we are getting ready for our first game. We wanted to talk about here for a moment, Cammy and Jacob. So not that long ago, we kind of talked about Seti, right? And I feel like what's happening right now is Seti, typically when you look at this duo, Seti and Cammy, they kind of come into tournaments real quiet, under the radar. And now you're telling me, Tokata, we have Seti already doing that. And now on the other end of Slurp Rush, we have Cammy and Jacob doing the same thing?
That's the interesting part, right? They are literally on the complete opposite side of the map. Now it's a full Polish duo, and when we think of strategy, we think of meta. I know they have something hidden up their sleeves. I always see them practicing. They are always locked in, and I'm excited to see kind of what that secret's gonna be.
A couple of our duos competing today, obviously, are flying under the radar. It's no surprise that Cammy and Jacob are one of those duos, but I think they're comfortable being like that, right? Cammy and Seti kind of like to do that when they're playing those FNCS majors, so no surprise that we're not really hearing a lot about this duo right now.
You're talking about teams flying under the radar. A team not flying under the radar is Nick A30 and Queasy. I mean, what a combo. You can already hear the cheering again. Nick A30 is such an incredible personality for Fortnite, joined by Queasy, one of the best IGLs, Takata.
What's interesting about Nick A30 is before Fortnite, he was actually studying to become a doctor. So now paired up with the GOAT IGL, he is gonna have all the resources needed to keep him alive and play that support role.
Well, obviously, Queasy, one of the GOATs when it comes to the IGL category. Talking about Fortnite, are they going to be able to pull off the typical surgical procedure that is take height, don't die?
I love it. You know, and after yesterday, we had these practice games to look at, and unfortunately, Nick had a moment where he kind of crash padded Queasy back in the storm. So I said, hey, Nick, I kind of walked up and said, hey, Nick, what is the one thing we're not doing tomorrow? He said, you saw the crash pad play, didn't you? You know, and I said, of course I did, Nick. And he's like, hey, look, Zeke, tomorrow that's not happening. Don't worry. And of course, the fact that we saw them on height, I love that you're kind of saying that kind of clinical, surgical precision, bro. I was like, wait a minute. Are we watching a Pro-Am or are we watching FNCS?
I mean, it's going to be a guarantee. We're going to see Queasy. We're going to see Nick A30 up on the high ground. Are they going to be able to control it, right? Maintain it? We'll have to see.
That's the difficult part, right? It did get taken from them in last moments, but it was because of a questionable crash pad play. So, you know, they had moments to practice. It was good. It was a practice game. Today is the real deal.
The one concern I have for this duo isn't about being contested, isn't about being able to play well, is how is Nick A30 going to deal with Queasy's language? We know that all the people competing here are going to be streaming their perspective, so we know, and also there's going to be some listen-ins as well. We got a lot of possible chaoticness for the family-friendly player.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to kind of talk about, you know, chaos, right? That's what Reload's all about. If we're taking a look at some of the items that we might expect some of our competitors to go ahead and pick up today, mobility being one of the most important things whenever we talk about Fortnite competitive. There's actually so much mobility in a Reload, right? We got the shockwaves, obviously those breaking builds. Those are going to cause some chaos. We got the grapplers. You can make so many, you know, crazy plays with that, avoid fall damage, you know, jump on the high ground with that pretty easily. The crash pads that we were kind of talking about, they send you so far. When we're talking about a smaller map, it feels like they send you halfway across the map.
And also thinking about strategies. There's a lot of mobility, but also, look, I don't want to leak it for the players, right? But seeing the practice games, if you're uncontested, we saw some duos just send the pro player somewhere else, let them battle it out. The creator farmed out the mats, got all the loot, got everything they needed to play out the later parts of the match. And hey, if the pro gets eliminated, you just reload back in, take all that loot. So I'm curious to see if we see that come to play.
I mean, yeah, that was a strategy that we saw in Major 2, right? With the new reboot purchasing that you can do. That is definitely a competitive level strategy. And that's what we need right now. A lot of these players prepping, getting ready. It has been all about the scrimming and the VOD reviewing for these duos. Who has been able to put in the most practice? How have they synergized as duos? Because this is it. This is the Pro-Am, right? We haven't had one in 5 years. A lot is on the line right now.
Vibes, I mean, at an all-time high, right? Obviously, there is definitely some more competitive edge, but there's also just like a lot of fun kind of bringing together, you know, both ends of the same coin, right? Hyper competitive FNCS and then content creators, right? Who, when you bring them together, it's like we're one big family coming together once again. I mean, again, having old OGs coming together and be like, yeah, I still rock Fortnite. Yeah, you want a 1v1? Oh, I just dumped you? That's crazy.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking, saying that there's already people before the show even started being like, we need another one next year, and the games hadn't even started yet.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. As we were kind of going down the line right there and showing some of our duos get locked in, start to, you know, talk some strategy with each other, I saw Thomas HD and Somerset kind of pop in, and that made me, you know, remember a conversation that I had with Somerset just earlier on today, and I think it's very, very important because this is something that we can talk about when it comes to every single duo. I was like, hey, Summer, you know, how you feeling? She was like, surprisingly, I'm not nervous at all. I think that's like really, really big because, you know, from her perspective, it's like, oh yeah, you know, she's used to being nervous when it comes to competitive events. She's finally kind of hit her stride where the nerves are finally going away and she's going to be able to lock into the competition.
Yeah, confidence is key, especially when eliminations, I mean, we talked about it, 10 elims is the equivalent of a victory royale. So if you're able to just farm a good amount of elims at the start of the match, you have a very good shot of getting first place. Now, what I'm thinking about as well, we've had a bit of drop spot changes, but maybe we've had a little bit of drop spot baits, right? I know Mongrel Allier said they were landing on Peterbot and Aussie Antics. Will they actually do that now that it's game time? Reason Faxvidi said they're landing on Cooper's Emmy and Gone and Flakes. That's like 3 of the most powerful duos in the same POI. I don't know if it's really going to happen.
I mean, did you see Aussie Antics' video of Ali A watching Peterbot build? I don't know if they're going to be dropping, and if they are, they're going to be doing it very carefully. But like you guys are saying, it's all about the vibes. We've had so much fun. There's just been so much content going out. We also have a lot of co-streamers up in the audience right now. There's people representing so many different regions. This is what Fortnite is all about.
Yeah, 100%. Very, very excited to kind of jump into the action. Gosh, Zeke, you know, I got a question for you, Zeke. You know, obviously you kind of punched in your ticket, Clix and Lacey yesterday, you know, Lacey after his extensive VOD review session last night. How you feeling about your pick?
I wasn't aware of the VOD review session personally, but listen, this is still Clix, this is still Lacey, you know. Clix is looking really good, right? Again, we had kind of 3 practice games yesterday we got to watch. We got to kind of clue in, see how things are kind of going. Clix, to him, it looks like I'm just watching Major 2, right? It looks like I'm just watching the same Clix I just got done watching. And of course, with Lacey, like, yeah, this guy loves content, of course, but He knows how much Clix wants it. He knows what this means to Clix. So when the time comes, he will lock in.
We all know the ongoing joke of the 4th place curse from Clix. Unfortunately, getting 4th place again with Veno back last year. And then this year, getting 3rd place in Major 1. Major 2, he gets 2nd place. We were already talking about if Thomas HD wins, would this officially be his first FNCS title? Well, what about that question for Clix?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are kind of, I've seen it on socials a lot. Clix is actually in his prime right now. And definitely those placements, they're kind of backing it up. We're talking about storylines when it comes down to primes and everything like that. Why don't we go ahead and focus in on Mr. Savage and Lachlan, right? Mr. Savage was retired from Fortnite Competitive earlier this year, and it did not take long before he kind of rejoined us for Major 2, joined another trio, got right back into the action, so I think he's locked in right there. The thing that I love about Mr. Savage is that, you know, I remember competing in Event Sky, and he always had his supporter creator code. It was always like 200 IQ, because everybody always kind of coined him as the smartest player. Of course, now we could see it right a couple minutes ago, right? He changed his code now to code Mr. Savage, but still has those smarts.
Has the IQ from retired to qualifying grand finals, but now competing here at the Pro-Am. And you were talking about, you know, does it count as an FNCS win? Well, if it does, you know, if Mr. Savage Lachlan wins, even Peterbot Aussie Antics, that means Aussie Antics is an FNCS win. Thomas HD doesn't, and Clix doesn't. You know, that is definitely gonna be a funny ongoing joke.
I mean, how can you not be entertained, right? And again, the fact that this is reload, you know, obviously in FNCS we watch, someone goes down, it's like, well, see you next game. Now someone goes down, it's like, okay, well, they're reloading back in. How do we kind of approach this new situation? Does Thomas HD have a mammoth pistol halfway across the map? Did he catch you coming from the sky? Like, there's so many cool things. And of course, with the loot pool that is reload, there's so much chaos that can happen. From even opening a single chest.
I think it's important to kind of talk about, yeah, you're going to kind of get reloaded, right? Obviously, you're going to be flying in the sky. You're pretty exposed. And we kind of see how that kind of works out in competitions before, whenever there's like launch pads in the lobby, in the loophole. But there was a change not too long ago to kind of avoid some of that, right? Make sure you can kind of glide down further, closer to the land, have a little bit more immunity. Yeah, to kind of prevent some of those beams coming out of the sky. I can tell you right now, from the practice games yesterday, with these professional players in the lobby, it feels like it almost changed nothing.
Yeah, it really did not. I mean, the aim of these players is on a whole other level. And what I'm thinking is, in a lot of the performance evaluations, the players are playing safe. They were, you know, hiding the box, going for the late games, and trying to get a good placement. Because in those end games, you are going to get a lot of opportunities for eliminations. But I'm trying to think to myself, okay, if you're low ground, you're going to have a lot of opportunities, players dropping down, running out of mats, a lot of elims. High ground, you're going to have to play aggressive if you want to match that amount of eliminations. And I think that's going to be kind of the deciding factor on who does end in first place.
Another deciding factor is how these players are going to be preparing for their win condition in the end game. Obviously, with this being reload, we know that it has a high potential of going to a heal off. And we've seen a few players, such as Peterbot and Aussie, having 4 chug jugs in their loadout at one point, which is a great way to prepare. It's not the best way to get eliminations, though, and you do need to have a bit of a combination of mobility and weapons and everything. But I think players that are preparing for that win condition is what's going to set them apart.
Love the fact that you're talking about the heal off. Yeah, it would be no surprise if at least 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4, maybe 5, maybe all 6 actually go down to that heal up, right? We got so many items that can kind of support that. Chug jugs, med kits, we've got those slurp juices in. But it's so funny because yesterday when we were watching those practice games, I was like, wow, we've even got the terrain, POIs like Slurpee that have those barrels available. Cooper, so smart, making sure that he went ahead and utilized those for his heal off win condition. Gosh, they're just so smart sometimes.
And that's why it's important to put in the practice on this new map. I mean, not only do you have chug jugs, med kits, splashes, but like you were mentioning, if you know where all these slurp barrels are, if you know where you need to go quickly into zone to keep yourself alive in the heal off, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of them.
I mean, bringing us back 3 years ago, Invitational final game, Camiseti versus Queasy Veno, not knowing what you can do at a drop spot can really change the story of a game.
Why would you bring that up, Kelly? It's not like this is going to be a super close competition by the end of the day. That would be insane if it was, but it's that time. We're ready to jump aboard that battle bus for the first game out of the FNCS Pro-Am. So casters, over to you.
is definitely time. You guys are talking so much about those practice games, Taco, and they are out the window because the nerves have to have settled down. The battle bus is going to launch, the players are going to drop in, and everything that you practice, some are going to be put to the test.
But so many of these creators, so many of these pros, they're just so familiar with what it's like to have all eyes on them. And so with that, I think the expectation kind of settles more into the fact of, I just don't want to be last.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things is, you know, everybody gets a little bit of that prize pool. It gets increasingly more, $50,000 for that first place, but it's almost like exactly what you said. No one wants to get last. Everybody wants to hoist that trophy, and it kind of leads to my prediction of Peterbot and Aussie Antics, right? Huge fan of Aussie. Everybody's got in the world probably a fan of Peterbot, but it was actually at last year's Global Championship. I asked him, what's next? How are you going to do it? He doesn't necessarily care to just win. He wants to dominate. He wants to be the best player in the game, and with 5 FNCS championships, he is well on his way there.
But that's just the thing. The caliber of competitors that we have in this lobby mixed in with what you would expect to be a little